Jeez. Things aren't going that well with Kanye, man. I've seen an article where basically they're saying he owes about 1 million in unpaid taxes.
1 million?
1 million in unpaid taxes, yeah. About 900 for his apparel, and also a couple of 100K for his homes, 2 homes.
But is it Kanye who's owing it, or is it the entities that's owing
Wow.
it?
You know how these articles are written, right?
Yeah.
Who's the article?
It's from the Daily Mail. They write a lot of. Sometimes they are pushing a certain narrative. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
because, yeah, but I mean that's the thing, right? When you say it's like for the click, for the sensation, for the clickbait, you say someone's owing it, but it's just like saying someone's bankrupt. You're gonna think to yourself, is that person really the person might technically be bankrupt personally, but is you really without money?
Right.
So it's take it with a grain of salt. So that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Okay, then. Then we all have to take it at a grain of salt. Let's start the show.
Yes. Do I have to?
Of course, you got to press it.
Well, okay. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Double Thought Show. Today we have a special guest, CMoses. In today's show, we will talk about, first and foremost, of course, taking a leap of faith. As if unless you've been,
You got the wrong script open.
I have the wrong script. I have Katt Williams Against the World script. That's what it's called.
That's the first show.
Okay.
I gotta cut this out.
Well, wait.
It's called Vultures, featuring Corey Moses.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can get that one.
We could do that though.
Vultures feature. Yeah.
We gonna start all over, or how's it gonna go?
Yes, 122. Now I'll cut it out.
Oh, okay.
I'll re-edit it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yep. It's like no one ever knew.
Like no one ever knew. 122.
So,
BTS
yeah.
122.
Okay. So, okay. Trending topics: Katt Williams, Vultures, the Vultures roll, the Vultures rollout
Yeah,
marketing.
Vultures roll out. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to catch that show though. It piqued my interest, taking a leap of faith. I was like, whoa,
Social media. Yeah.
I didn't see that one. Where are we going? This?
Monday. It's gonna drop on Monday.
Gotcha.
The spark. Okay.
So how you can continue roll out? Press the show time and then you continue.
Awesome. Okay.
What's that mean?
It's
So the soundbite.
Yep.
Hey guys, welcome all to another edition of the Double Thought Show. Today we have a special guest, CMoses.
yes, sir.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna dive into some very interesting topics today. Of course, we will start the show with the most trending topic, which is Katt Williams' latest remarks on a lot of what people said, specifically relating to Kanye West. We're gonna talk about Vultures as well, the album was supposed to drop, I think, last year. It's been they keep pushing the date further back. We talked about maybe the reason why in the previous show, last week's show. Go check it out. We're going to talk about the Vultures rollout and marketing strategy. Is everything going according to plan? Yes or no? And of course, we're going to talk about social media trying to spark a new rivalry between Northwest and Adonis. We've had Corey in on our show in the past. For those of you who didn't catch it, we had a couple of subs then, so no hard feelings here. But we have to say that show did pretty well for our standards during that time, for our small platforms. We got some very great reviews, and we've talked about doing some more collabs, more consistent collabs with Corey this new year. So stay tuned for that. And of course, go check out his channel as well, CMoses. Before we proceed with the topic, remember to rate the show by pressing the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell so you stay up to date when we drop new videos. Follow us on our socials. comment, let us know your thoughts and opinion. This is an open platform, so whether you agree or disagree, just let us know what you think. And of course, share the video with your friends, your family, and distract your enemies with our videos. With that being said, I think, guys, we can start with the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's do this. Corey, for those who don't know who you are, let's start with that part because maybe they want to look back at the show we did last year. Can you introduce yourself, real in short, who you are and what you stand for, and etc. etc.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, looking back on that show, it was a year ago. A lot has happened. So on YouTube or on, wherever this is going to be showing, it's hard to give a very short excerpt of who you are because you're always growing. But I definitely think that was a cool show. And I appreciate the intro and, being on here this time and last time. You'll be able to see the evolution of myself, the evolution of the show. But in short, I'm from here in the States. I grew up in Connecticut, was born in Virginia, went to school in New York, went to college in New York, lived in New York City, moved back to Connecticut. I've got a perspective on a lot of different things. I've played college football. I work as an executive recruiter for sports media and entertainment. I touch a lot of points that I think in terms of my personal growth, I'm trying to connect dots in terms of the things that I'm building on as a personal brand, and then leading to things like this is creatively. But to the show, Kanye West was someone who I feel as though I connected with right outside of college heavily for some godforsaken reason. And I wouldn't say godforsaken. I would say, I don't know, we'll get it more deeper into it, but just I'm a thinker. I'm a athlete. I am a family man. I am, in some ways, I don't want to say a self-proclaimed Renaissance man, but I do like to think that I'm spreading my wings a bit wider than the normal person, and I'm able to connect with a lot of people and have good conversations that I hope to bring to a larger audience. And here we are. So hopefully that gives a quick excerpt.
Yes, here
Yeah.
we are.
Thank you.
And that
Thank you.
last show, the show that you were on the first
Yeah.
time, we also talked a lot about Ye. It was during, well, the if you need to believe so let's say what they call the downfall of Ye,
Yeah.
and what we were talking about being perhaps a strategy or no, yeah, it's great. You spread your wings, other people spread seeds, and they have a bunch of children that they don't race. So it's good that you're a family man as well. Uh, this is this
It's the
is
truth.
yeah. So this is the truth. But yeah, Kr, proceed
Yes,
with the
yes.
first topic.
Talking about children, talking about a lot of children. Cat Williams talked about a lot of things during the show. Also, I didn't know he adopted 7 kids. That's very interesting. But
Now,
he
does
also,
he not have any of his own? Are those all the kids that he has?
I think there's a combination of kids he has on his own and also he adopted. So he has
Got
seven
it.
kids. That's what he said.
No,
Yeah.
But
I
he
think
also,
he
huh?
said he said at one point he has 10 kids, because he said I have 5 daughters and 5 sons. So I would think that perhaps he has 3 of his
Good
own
catch.
and seven adopted kids.
Adopted.
Good
Yeah,
catch.
good one. But he also talked about Yay during that interview, and we're gonna take a short look at what he had to say. Fair use. So Shannon, please don't try to strike us down. So let's take a real quick look at what he had to say about Kanye. Oh man, give me a second. Why did it have to do this right about now? Give me a second. Let me play this out. Uh,
Yeah.
well, let's see.
No
I
audio.
can't I can't hear it.
You cannot hear.
No.
Give me a second.
You're
Well,
gonna do some editing on here.
10 minutes.
Can you hear
for
now?
yourself,
There we go.
then you should feel great about those odds.
What do you think about Kanye rants? What's going on with Kanye? From a distance, obviously, I don't know how well you know Kanye. I don't know if you've been around Kanye, but from a distance, what do you suspect's going on?
I suspect that we're pretty awful people if we say that somebody got a mental illness and then we watch what they do. If you say somebody got special needs, then why would you be watching them and holding them accountable like everybody else? Wouldn't you grade them on a curve? Wouldn't you go, whew, this guy? Because, I mean, what are we reacting to? What are we reacting to? You're the one that put him in a position where he thought he was God and could call himself Jesus. And you're the one told a guy that writes musical lyrics that he was a genius.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that's like, so what do you expect? The guy married a whore. Like, what?
Oh, Lord.
Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, married her
Sure.
because he was one. Not he didn't know. He understood that he wanted that.
Yeah, let's
start there.
let's start here. Let's start here. Maybe we should end it here as well. But guys, give me your opinion on what he just had to say.
So it just jumped out on me how bad his hat went with his jacket. I do have to say, Katt Williams on that. All right, but when I did my intro, I did say that I connected to Kanye in a manner that I still do, just feel connected to him. So right off the bat, I want to defend him. At the same time, I want to defend him just because there's a level of loyalty that you should take ownership or connect with your people and, stay loyal to them, come hell or high water, no matter what. On the flip side, everybody, the interview itself in its entirety was a good interview and there was a lot of good points. So I don't want to nitpick and just say I'm going to defend Kanye and attack Katt Williams. But his response to what's going on with Kanye's, it seemed like he was pointing the finger at everybody but Kanye, saying, you guys are mentally ill if you're watching Kanye. So it wasn't really about Kanye. It was about the people who are watching Kanye in a downgrading and maniacal, like, I don't know. I kind of went back and forth on what I was really supposed to take from his take on Kanye, because it didn't seem like he was bashing Kanye. It just seemed like he was bashing the people who were bashing Kanye.
Yeah, it seems like for what I watched it twice. It seems to me like he was more like pointing to the people creating content based on Kanye, basically responding to him, saying that you guys are exploiting someone that might not be all the way there, and that's not really the way that we are. Like you said, we are awful people. That in that case, because we are basically piggybacking off someone that's not really he's moving a bit unorthodox. Let's put it that way.
If you think that though, because if they say what's your take on Kanye, I'm gonna say he's telling the truth. I still don't know where Kanye's at fault with some of his rants. I mean, let me take that fully back. There are some things that I think Kanye is at fault with, especially as we get into the Vultures and this era of Ye, and it being in pretty steep contrast with the era we just came out of, which was a little bit more spiritual. But when I'm watching Kanye and when as I'm listening to the content or buying the shoes, I don't look at it as this person is completely off the tracks. I'm just like, seems like we, are going now in this direction or what have you. But a lot of people are watching Kanye just to grab that headline of anti or just whatever, and that's their only reason, is to find it. Oh, got him. And then creating content, knowing, I mean, look, there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things that literally make money, and there's a lot of people that just, they got their popularity and notoriety solely or low-key solely off of the back of that man's name. So that's their business, is to follow what he's doing next and to point out the downfall, just because it makes them feel they can hold their head up high for whatever reason.
I think what you're saying, so I agree with what you're saying, but I don't. So not only in relation to Kanye, but a lot of people during that show, that episode, Katt Williams was talking about a lot of people, but at the same time, some people he was attacking directly, and other people you were like, was this a compliment or this? Examples being the Migos, when they asked him, did you bail out the Migos? Did you give the Migos money? He didn't answer that question. Well, he did. He gave an answer. He said, well, I think we all know Migos as having money. But had they have asked, then I would have given. So it's like, well, did you or didn't you? Gary Owen, the comedian, he also went on his show, and he also said, I don't know if Katt dissed me or talked good about me. So I think that's the artist. But aside from the mental thing, because that's one thing, right? It's just like the media picks certain controversial people, I believe, in their year planning. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna
That's
okay.
us. Right.
And we're going to basically track everything they do and report on everything they do, because those are the names that gets us hits.
Yeah.
But Katt Williams didn't have a standard high school, or at least teenage years, because he was touring since it's 12 or 13 or something. He was all over the place.
That's one thing with Katt. He's a comedian. But in that interview, he said that he read, and this is, I don't know why, for some reason, whenever I'm thinking about this interview, he said in it, he read 3,000 books a year.
That's what he said.
From 8 to 12.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me thinks that's
ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. So it's either an exaggeration, or it says something about his intelligence, because he was doing things when he was 3. I think he was reading.
He was reading at 3. Yeah, I think from what I understand, I've heard, at least, not sure if it's true, so I haven't verified it yet, but I heard that he has a IQ of 165.
Yeah. So he's a very. But what Kanye and Katt have in common is that if you haven't gone through the structured school system that we all went through, where they tell you need to stay in this lane, this is bad, this is bad, you need to stay in this lane, and the range of normal is between these two borders, and as soon as you cross it, then you're crazy. Well, if Katt never continued his secondary, at least continued and or completed his high school, then he's had the flexibility to roam all over the place. So the way they think it's like completely different than the way we think.
Yeah.
So to us, it's like, wow, amazing. These people are either controversial or they it's either unique or crazy, right? So it's like, but they just operate with different frameworks than we
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
we,
So
yeah, continue.
there's one of the best compliments I ever got was I was talking to this girl, and she basically, in the middle of whether it would be one of my rants or just explaining myself, which it felt as though it was like, you're thinking you know me, but it's very early on. She said, "You didn't go to public schools, didn't you? Did you?" And in that moment, I'm like, nah, like maybe it was because of the topic or the subject, what we were on, but she could tell my mind, like as you were pointing out, didn't fall in line with this. And at a point in my life, I did not go to public school, but it was more than that, right? So it's not just, all private school kids think this way, or however you want to set those guardrails. But like you're saying, and that's the point that like I felt from the intro, I've spread my wings wide. I think I can connect with people that did not go that traditional route. And I think there's so much value in that. And that's, you hit on just a great point. I mean, when you think about the nuts and bolts, like what he's saying, what is crazy about it? The fact that it's different than 99% of the other interviews. So when you get those cookie cutter interviews, it's like, what is there to take away?
Yeah.
It's a question answer, and there's just, it didn't really turn on that light bulb. But when you have a Katt Williams, the reason we're all up and roar or just talking about it is because it's got us thinking. This person had and now we're it's not even that we're overcompensating, like analyzing, oh, he didn't go to school. It just, there's topics, there's things to unpack that is deeper than just, what was the creative process like? Oh, I worked, like he said, I worked hard and blah, blah. Everybody works hard, right?
Yeah.
A lot of Hollywood artists will give you that, I'm hardworking. And he's like, my gardener works hard. So we need to start to be able to we don't need to. We are at the point, starting in 2024, to connect with those dots that are lighting up, that are outside of the guardrails. And some people have been saying this for a period of time, but I do believe the domino is like clicking. It's like a faster click versus just one and then another and then another. It's like, no. This isn't crazy. More people are connecting to it. I don't see a lot of people like, I mean, I'm, pointing out the fact that he said he read 3,000 books. Like that was just, for whatever reason, something that stood out to me. But his remarks on Ye, I see them both in the same vein in some regards. And I don't see that being an attack on Ye, simply because when he was attacking people, you knew. You knew.
Ricky Smiley is out.
He was going in, and he wasn't going in. He was with details. He was going in with, why, from the 90s to what the future looks like if you were to go this route. And so because there's a lot of people will say, what's your opinion on Ye? And you walk away looking at Ye a certain way. That, I don't know. It was more so just a look in the mirror type of moment. Like that's, I think, what we should be doing.
Corey, now one question, because of course we reacted on the mental illness part. So the mental illness remark that Katt Williams made. But what about the marrying a hoe remark? How do you see that? What's your opinion on that? Yeah. Because Kim was already known, right, to having had for being someone that basically has another person every other month, week, or day. But yet Ye decided to marry her and have 4 kids with her. So how do you? What's your take on that part?
This is honestly, it comes to mind as you ask this question. So this is not a pre-thought out answer. The same way I think a lot of people try to say, oh, Ye hasn't been the same since his mom passed. I hate resorting just to that, to think that what he's doing today, January 6th, 2024, has to do with that.
Wait. Is it January 6th?
It is.
Okay, never mind. Let's protect ourselves.
Copy that. Copy that. Copy that. Okay, so
Hey yo, hey yo.
we're editing, right? We're editing.
No, but this, yeah. But this is just, yeah, we just, yeah.
I'm saying edit that. My thing is what I think the default for us to try to paint a picture of Kanye being this person based on this past decision, 2024 has to do with his mom passing, or 2024 has to do with him having 5 kids with Kim in the past. I don't know why that has nothing to do with where we are today. That's
true. So my question
it's not that it has nothing to do. It's just it's a easy way out. I know a lot of people, and there's Kim is not the only person that has gone that route in life, and there's a lot of people that had kids. He has a new marriage. So the things that the Kanye West that we have today, I believe post Donda has closed that chapter with Kim, and I do not think that we should be bringing those two up in the same sentence unless he does, because Bianca is another is a completely different ballgame. He's he's got kids with her, but still we moved on, so I think we all should move on.
So are you saying that when he married Kim, he was in that's what you're saying? Of course, you're implying that he was in a different phase. But would you say that was attributed, because it seems as though Katt was referring to him having so he attributes it to, the premise is that his premise is that Kanye has a mental illness, and as a result of that mental illness, he does weird things, and one of the weird things he did was marry Kim, who has had like a history of dumping and getting into relationship and dumping. So but are you saying that that's something he did in a different phase? And if so, what phase was that?
That was I don't believe that he married her thinking this was going to be the outcome. I think as the saying goes, you can't turn one into the other. And it's funny that I'll just say that, and I feel as though my point is taken. And then right after he pointed that out, he said the same guy who said, he's a god. One of my biggest takeaways in my spiritual journey is that's literally what the book says. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but I kind of do. That's what the book literally, Psalms 82:6 says, ye are gods. So for Kanye to say I'm a god, that doesn't make me want to write him off. And the fact that he tried to turn one into the other doesn't make me say, oh, this guy is mentally ill. He just fell into that same boat, or he tried to do something that millions and millions of people have done, and he tried to do it at the highest level, right? At that time, yes. I mean, say what you want about Kim. She's at the top of her game, whatever that title is. She's at the top, and she has a lot of followers. And so there's a lot of people that are getting something, almost a version of that, but it's not at the top. So him being at the top, he believed he can turn the top into the top, and it didn't work out. But him being a god, he believed he could. And so I don't fault that, but I certainly am. I believe I'm learning from that. If you call it a mistake, or I'm learning from that period, that phase of Ye, that I'm able to kind of separate from this phase of Ye. And I'm not learning like sitting here taking notes, but I'm learning as in I think I understood how he went into it, and then I'm seeing that it was kind of just bigger than him.
And I think our show, or the premise of our show, is at least to learn from other people's mistakes. So that's a good thing you pointed out, where he thought it was a mistake and the divorce happened, and now he's trying to build up build it better.
To what extent? To what extent do you guys think that the business aspect played a role? Because
And by the
the
way,
reason.
this is the last part of this segment.
Okay, yeah. So the reason why I'm asking is that if you look at like the feudal systems, the kingdoms, and the empires, of course, you always have, let's say, at a certain level of richness and power, it's common that people don't get married for love, right? Well, a lot of people don't even get married for love; they get married for the party. But there comes a point where they say it becomes like a strategic move to increase power and influence. So, as you said, Kim was very high and still is. But at the time when they got married, I think everyone was like, "Huh, these two?" But they got married and they had kids. But Kim, being the businesswoman that she is, whether you
Yeah.
agree with her business model or not, and Ye being the businessman that he is, yeah, to what extent do you think that played a role? And then, yeah, we can keep it short, so we move to the next segment. But I'm curious to know your thoughts.
I believe again, it's still he tried to forge that business in love. There was a point in time when he said like, she's not with me for the money because
I
she has
remember.
her own money, and so that made him believe she was with him just for him, and this was going to be his ride or die. I don't want to muddy the waters in those regards, but I mean, marriage is a business contract, so love, the topic around love, I think absolutely should be explored. And I'm not talking about from the manosphere standpoint, but I believe we need to redefine what love means in that connection and what we want, what we are supposed to get out of it. And as I process it, I don't believe, I believe, I mean, both of those people, as you talked about with like bankrupt, both of those people have money. Their kids will not go hungry.
Definitely not.
No.
Can you make decisions that get you more money? Sure. Do I believe Ye is still Ye, if not more Ye, without Kim? And I think vice versa. I don't know if Kim is the same Kim without Ye, and not hoping for her downfall, but just thinking it was, it was different. She was looked at differently. I separate those two with these two, and I hope that both find love, and I don't believe either one is going to have a problem with money in this era of business that we're in. I believe a lot of people are, if they only knew how much money they can make or need to make or whatever, don't have money be the driver in any of your decisions, especially love, right? A lot of people will say, don't work for money, when it's like, well, isn't that what we're supposed to? But it's like, if you're really doing what you want to do, the money's going to come. And if you're really building and forging relationships on the basis of love, leave money completely out of it. Because you'll have what you need for sure, because each one wants the other to be better.
Yeah, so I guess everyone has a different concept of love as well. Ye had his concept, Kim had his concept, and Diddy has his concept. Okay, yeah, let's go.
Since we're talking about Diddy and albums, we're gonna switch to Vultures, man. Vultures, the rollout and marketing. It's been quite a struggle, actually. If you compare it to the Donda rollout, which was very smooth, a lot of listening. I will call them listening parties that were actually shows. If you compare it to this, this was a bit, I'm not gonna say a struggle rollout, but it seemed like it wasn't as big and smooth as the previous one. While it being, Ty Dolla Sign is not it's not nobody these days, and Kanye is still, Kanye is still Kanye. So they were doing these shows, well, these listening parties, and it wasn't Kanye like. Let's put it that way. The rollout
Not
for
at all.
Donda was very different.
Yeah. No, I'm I'm hurt with this rollout. I'm hurt not because of the music. I'm hurt because I feel like he's not really putting himself in the shoes of the fan. And I hate to use that word. He's not putting himself in the shoes of the almost the ambassadors, right? Like the people that are kind of like ready to, they're in it with him to sprinkle things, to go away, to come back, to set a date, to go like the Donda rollout. When you said it wasn't perfect, but we were getting action. We were seeing the progression. I mean, it was, if you think back on that time, it was lit, right?
It was really crazy.
It was lit. It was, I mean, it was cool. This one, I'm not, I'm disappointed in the marketing team, and I do believe there's authenticity in it. I just think if, you know, he's an artist, if it's not ready, don't put out the art. I get it. At the same time, don't sprinkle, you know, these dates. Don't, so just say, hey, you knew looking back on it, you needed more time. Don't say December 31st. Don't say whatever date you have said.
Yeah.
Just don't say it. And I'm cool with that. But to say it and then to not give it what it needed in order to be there at that time, or even a week later or 2 weeks later, and then to just go away. And to sell the shoes, because so the shoes are ready, right? Or the merch is ready. Or is it? I don't know. I mean,
I have no idea. What's the latest? What's the latest time frame for the shoes? Let me see.
I think it's a 3 to 4 week when you purchase. I think 3 to 4 weeks, like you're expected for shipping, or even 6 to 8. I want to say in some of the merch. So I mean, I don't want to say the problem. The good thing is he must be cooking up something. Must. And then this could all go away.
So my question is, to what extent did you guys think that the fact that it leaked or partially leaked played a role in him changing the dates in order to do what you're basically hoping for, Corey, which is to still roll it out with a bang?
When you say to what extent, I don't know what.
So let's say, for example, maybe he had like the 31st. Well, the 31st was one of the dates, but then no, it was before. So and before it was another date prior to the 31st.
Before that, yeah.
Yeah.
December,
on-
beginning of December. That was the initial date, I think.
What was it?
31st was a disappointing date at the
Yeah,
time.
it
It was
was
like,
the
so it
second
was-
date, I think. Yeah. So it was the first. I think it was the first pushed back. The date,
Yeah.
the first pushback. But let's on the date that it was originally supposed to drop.
Mhm.
We were able to find some soundtrack, or at least I mean, until he releases it officially, we don't know if those are actually the ones that will be on the album. But there were various videos on YouTube with like a playlist with like the songs, the track list, some of 45 minutes, some of over 1 hour long.
Yeah.
So to what extent do you guys think that the fact that the music dropped made him push back the date to prepare something extra, something different?
To be honest, first of all, there was no real leak. All these things that are played, all these playlists are based on the listening parties. I think that he had. Basically, they clean up the audio a bit, which makes it a bit better sounding. So those are not leaks, I think. But that's my personal feeling. We talked about this also in a previous show, RJ, where I have a strong feeling that the rants he's had in the last year resulted in problems relating to venues and how those venues treat him, and not wanting to be affiliated with whatever he's putting out. Because if you look at, I think it was the last week of December when he made a public apology. He put out a public apology, which was in Hebrew. And I think the pushback was basically to have some time to let that sink into the other people, which could help him as well during his release, and also maybe with some of these listening parties as well, to get some venues in order to also plan a tour. Because at the end of the day, I mean, most artists make money with touring, not with these. I mean, these Spotify albums where you're getting 10 cents on a dollar, basically. So I think the pushback had probably more to do with the accessibility for him to roll out smoothly. And then, if you remember the Donda time, he rented the whole stadium.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
I just actually came from Atlanta. That
Ah.
that stadium
It's
is
big.
enormous.
Yeah.
No, it's not big. It's enormous.
Yeah.
Because there's an Atlanta, like, you know, you go to the NBA stadium, the Atlanta Hawks play. Look, it's like that looks like a high school arena
Really?
or stadium.
Uh.
It's a huge venue, and that was like, let's do it at the Mercedes-Benz, sell tickets the night before. That wasn't like put out the album, people listen to it. Oh, I want to buy tickets. It's 3 months out. Will it fill up? I don't think we wrap our heads around how connected to the people Ye is. And even in these last minute things, and even what you're talking about, the rollout, like it's for the venue piece. That's a great point, which is why I'm saying I'm hurt and I don't like this rollout, blah, blah, blah. He very well may be making the right decisions to just hush up, let this, for whatever reason. The latest rants that he had at the listening party, I take that very differently than a lot of, let's just say, big name people, especially powerful people that can give him access to these venues. I just look at it as, I mean, there were certain things where it's like, man, to be honest, I wish I was in the room, but there's a lot of things that it's like he's just telling the truth. There's a lot of things where when there's so many different avenues, I'm assuming that was the point where they were like, okay, this is too much, right? Because I don't think he was really getting into trouble before that. I mean, some of the, I'm trying to understand. I mean, I guess the venue that got shut down, I think he was trying to do a little bit too much too quickly, and they didn't have a permit or something like that. But I don't think that really got him in trouble. I just thought that he wasn't able to get the footage, or that's a listening party for him as well to say, all right, is this connecting with the audience in the way where, okay, this is ready, or people aren't, you know, they're not really vibing with this the way that I thought that they were. And as I'm speaking, in that that same night where he went on that rant, which I loved, and I think for a lot of people, go back and listen to it because there was a lot of truth in it. He had Falvia up there. It was a recording session that absolutely needed to be done. And I don't know how that was going to be done because that was supposed to be during the time that they were supposed to be on stage.
Yeah.
So the way that God works, it's like it's an unbelievable thing where it's like, well, they shut it down, then they went to this hotel, and then in that hotel, I mean, granted, I don't think it's that calculated where it's like, we're going to shut this down and then we're going to go to the hotel, and then Falvia is going to come in and bless the whole room with an amazing part that is going to be like, that might change this song. And then, you know, certain things, I'm going to do this rant. Like, you can't calculate that. That's why the rollout is so authentic and genuine, but at the same time, the dates and the fact that it was starting to brew, and I want to say October was when we thought we were getting a Kanye album, and then it, you know, November, and then it was like, okay, I thought for sure Christmas time.
Yeah,
December 31st.
I told you probably he's gonna drop it on Christmas, but then he pushed it back to 31st. I was like, what is this? Who knows?
And it's still, who knows? But who knows? I mean, I don't know. My whole thing is just don't set a date. We're past the date era. There's no point in giving us a date. Just put it out when it's ready. Don't
Yeah.
get people's hopes up. There's just no point. Music, it's one of those things where, I mean, as the product, I think especially in the digital era, we look at it very, very differently. It's something that you stream. It doesn't have to be put onto a CD. It's not a physical product anymore. Don't give a date. When it's ready, put it out, and like that, you have it, and we run with it. You know, I don't know. I think just that's a thing that a lot of music executives, if you understand, like, it's music industry itself has completely changed, and it's not what it was 20 years ago in a way where you could not do this 20 years ago, because you had distributor businesses, you had so many other ancillary businesses connected to it that when you set a date, no matter what, you had to put it out then. And if it wasn't your best work, if it flopped, you had that album flopped. In 2024, you do not have to put out that album that you feel might flop. And we're hurting because of it, because this would have never happened in the 90s. And
I remember, yeah, you're right on that, because back in the days, if you listen to this, I was into music really strong. Let's put it that way before a long time ago.
Weren't you a producer?
Yeah. I was making beats.
Why are you holding those cards close to your chest? Talk your shit.
Yeah, come on.
I was pretty good until I met a couple of friends that were bad. I was like, no, I can't compete with this.
But still, you were listening with a different ear. You were
Yes,
listening with a different ear.
One thing I'll tell you, and I'll never. This is something. Once you open like certain spectrums in your ear, you cannot undo it. And when I listen to songs, that's one thing. One of, I won't say superpowers, but I can hear whether a song will be fire or not, whether it will connect with people. And
talk your shit, Kurt.
But to get it back in the days, you're right. Back in the days, you had these deadlines, and a lot of, and people will be surprised. A lot of songs, monumental songs, were really last moment added to these albums, where you basically, the guy recorded it an hour before they had the deadline, before the mixing had to get done, the mastering, they handed it over and it was done. So I do agree with you. You're definitely right on that. And in these days, you don't have to do that, because a lot right now, the way they roll out most of these albums is they put out the digital one, and then maybe a month later they release some CDs or some LPs, vinyl, which is probably my word. Well, I prefer vinyl above CDs, but that's my personal feeling on that, preference. Yeah, but yeah, I do agree on you with you on that. It's very different, and that's maybe also hurting the listener. And I mean, more than any other artist. And you had it also with Donda, where he moved the release date a couple of times.
Yep.
I think Kanye is probably the only artist that can do this as well.
100%. And
there's no other artist that people have the anticipation for the album, and they're gonna sit and wait for it.
And still, when that thing drops, it's going to be, another Yeezy season. So the other part, I mean, we talked about the physical product. When you talk about the venues, normally when you drop the album, you have the tour already set up. And that's why it has to be done here to give them 2 months. Again, Ye doesn't have to do it because he sold out the Mercedes-Benz in hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unbelievable thing. I mean, let's be honest. So is he the only one? I think the way that Drake runs his lane, he's in the same category. I don't know if his aura would do this, like his demeanor. I don't know what it is about Ye that it's not even that makes him want to do this, but gives him the ability to do something like this.
And with something, you mean what exactly? Something.
I mean, push things back.
Do it his own way.
To the degree that it's going to still do numbers, it's going to sell. And yeah, just the levels of doing what you're going to do versus what, I think. So the reason the reason why I don't think Drake can do this, because I think that there are other executives at the table. I think he's in those deals that force him to have it at the date or else contractually. And that or else is millions and millions of dollars that you go in debt because someone else, their payment is dependent on this release. And for whatever it is, I'm not saying Drake is not an independent artist, but that's the part where the art is very different than the business. We just want the great art, right? We don't really care about the business. And I personally didn't believe we got the best art with, and I don't want to truly bring it into the same conversation, but For All the Dogs wasn't my cup of tea. And I don't know if it would have been had Drake had more time to put into it. I just know that, the year before he had to have an album at this time. Yeah. And so that puts the artist in a situation of, okay, because I think Ye will go through, he has to live out the inspiration to do an album, and every artist, I think art, you have to live through something where you feel you have a message, you're inspired to put this thing out into the world.
Yeah. It's like writers as well. So you have Stephen King. He's a volume writer. So he's hit and miss. But if you go look at his catalog, he publishes at least one book a year. And he's been doing it. He's done it consistently for decades. Sometimes in combination with short stories, etc. His process is wake up every day, or I don't know if it's still like this, but his process was, at least in 2015 when I last checked, wake up every day, write 2,000 words before doing anything else. Every day. Even if whether you want to or you don't want to, you wake up and you write. So it's like, I would compare that to let's say Drake or artists that sign big deals for multiple albums. And then you have other writers that drop books, maybe two books in 3 years time, and then the third one will drop 5 years later. And those people write out of inspiration. Drake, I believe, is also a very talented artist. Definitely.
Absolutely.
His rhymes are amazing, but I agree with you that if your goal is to just keep pushing and you get an album, he has some bangers.
Yep.
But then maybe the next track will be it's not that good.
And it hurts when it's not that good.
But on that level, the goal is different. So it's just like Stephen King. Stephen King is the reason why the publishing companies push Stephen King is because he can guarantee a book every year.
Yeah. And that in and of itself is a skill, is talent, right? I'm not discrediting that by any means. My connection is and you talk about you saying writer's book, but I'm saying writers, also the way I want to bring up this, right, is writers behind the music, because every artist has certain writers.
Yeah.
If we think about, and let's go back to bringing up love, right? The best love songs, you had to go through love to connect with it at that level. And when you do, so you couldn't write a love song without experiencing love. Now you experience love, and then you write the song that put it into the words that millions of people just connect with their heart is like it's so deeper than surface.
Yep.
It's like now we're talking about like magic and what's what music is not supposed to be. What music has the ability to do to the listener and
Underlying connection that we don't see in the lyrics and the sound of the voice. That's what you're.
It makes you look at the world differently.
Yeah.
Right. That is, I don't want to say it's just missing, but I believe that we're in an era and where I don't know if we're analyzing certain like what we're getting from, whether it be content, from music, from movies, whatever it is, what media. It's supposed to help you on your journey through life or make it better. And if not, then what is it for? Right? Entertainment. But when it does help you or you enjoy listening to it because it, people will recite movie lines because it's funny, right? And then you laugh and that feeling, that emotion. Like I'm a deep thinker, so it's like everybody does these things, but they don't even think about the things that they're doing. These are game-changing and life-changing forms of art. When Drake puts out these songs that you just skip, there's nothing inherently wrong with it because we got the whole album, but we're missing those moments where it's like you just have to pause the song because it's like, wow, this is I'm feeling this in my stomach. Kanye has those. It's like, wow, I really, even if I don't feel him with, let's say, Donda, like even if you didn't lose your mom, you're saying, wow, this guy really, feels connected to his mom in a way that makes you appreciate your mom even more, right?
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna dive into the Drake versus Kanye. But I think that's the biggest difference between Kanye and Drake in general. And I'm not saying that Drake, to me, is a very good artist. He's great at what he does. But a lot of times, if you listen to his songs, his album, and that's the small difference. Kanye can shift the tide. I've never heard an album of Drake that shifts the tide. He adjusts or makes it a bit. He jumps into the tide and surfs it pretty well.
Very.
But just think about the Sunday service. That's the group, right? Kanye's gospel group.
Yep.
Just remember before the Sunday service album, how many choirs were in albums before that and after. I find it interesting that after that album, there's a lot of more choirs being added to songs. Those are the small things. People don't notice them, but I like Drake. Drake was in my wrap up he was number 2 of most listened artists. Number 2
all time or current?
No, the last year.
I thought it was number 1.
Okay.
Didn't you tell me it was number 1?
No, it was Fuerza Regida was number 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Mexican group, but
Let's call them a group. Yeah.
Let's call them a group. Well, they are a group. That's pretty.
Yeah, they're a group. Yeah.
But Kanye has a different. It's just different. He can make
The trendsetter is what you're saying.
Yeah. Where he's shifting the tide of the. Just remember, guys, 808 and Heartbreaks. Before the hip hop before and after. Hip hop before and after the Red album, the Dog Twisted Fantasy. He changed the sound of the genre. And I don't think Drake does it. And I think that's not gonna say this. Just I have a feeling that that's bothering Drake more than people actually notice.
Why would you say bother though? So why do you say that it bothers him? So because I would say that there are different
I'll tell you
Oh, he's
that
trying.
he's
Okay.
trying. I can you can hear it in the songs, but it's not. He's trying to do something. He's trying to build a bridge to a new song, not a new song, a new sound,
Sound.
but it's not getting there. That's my feeling, right? His
But,
latest album, I, I
but
I really don't see the. I'll be honest. I like Drake, like I said, number 2 in my wrap up. But this last album didn't connect one bit. There's like maybe the songs he released after, like the EP he released after, had better songs. But I'm like, dude, what are you? Why are you keeping this sound? I mean, you have to, of course, you have to connect, like create a something that bridges. But he doesn't. I don't know what is wrong
And
with
it's
that.
also no, I'm with you. And it's also it's not like it was before. So when he came out, he was swinging. He was like
Yeah,
swinging
yeah,
for the fence.
yeah.
So the bar, like it was so high for what he was capable of doing,
Yeah.
because everybody kind of was looking for what he was getting ready to do next
Yeah.
or what he was on. And I was an early adopter of what he meant to hip hop. Like I remember in college and even right after college, the fact that he was writing about like more sentimental type of,
Hmm.
like it wasn't, hip hop was all streets,
Yeah.
and then you had your backpack rappers, and it was either or,
Yeah.
and I would kind of connected with both, but I wanted like the backpack rappers to kind of sound like more like the street rappers, and then Drake forged it, right? A lot of people, they weren't early adopters of Drake because they were like, nah, man, not,
He's too
they wanted to
soft.
be so
love
exactly,
songs. Yeah, love songs.
exactly. And then it's
Yeah.
like, you know, have you never not been in love? And then he's just talking about love, but it's like making it cool.
So
Now I don't know. What is he making cool? Like, what is not even making cool? What is the inspiration behind his art?
Yeah.
Like I said before, it was relationships. It was family stuff. It was, his mom and dad divorcing and what that did to him. It was not being accepted, but knowing you're the best. There was so many things you could point your finger on of like what Drake went through, and whether or not you went through it, still you had the appreciation for the artist going through it and painting the picture that I honestly don't know. And it's not just Drake, but I don't know what, for all the dogs or my dogs, whatever it is, what era of Drake we're in right now. And then to your other point, honestly, never mind. I did think he attempted to create a wave of his own, and I appreciated the attempt. I like the music. I
Is that
like,
the House album?
yeah,
Yeah,
I like
I
House.
like that one. To be honest, I like that one. But people were bashing it. I don't
100%. It didn't
understand.
catch on. That's what I'm saying. It didn't connect in the
But
way that.
he marketed it to the wrong people. You cannot. I'll be honest. I
Yeah.
love hip hop, but I don't like hip hop fans. They usually are very close minded. They don't think outside of the box. They really, if you don't make the sound, in general, fans are like that. If you don't make the sound they see you for, you try something else,
Yeah.
they will bash you. I like the album. It wasn't bad, but
I like the
So-
album as well. And then like let's go on the extreme and bring up the Andre 3000 album. It's like but here, but I mean, when you talk about thinking outside of the box and having expectation, I don't know, it's that one. I appreciated the attempt, if nothing else.
yeah.
The attempt to do something different, because you have to think differently, which 100% we need more of as a culture, as a society. And whether or not we get it, attempting to get it gives us that empathy or sympathy to like, okay, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. And if you do that, if you attempt to do that in a lot of regards of just life, there's a life lesson in trying to understand what someone else is going through.
That's a very great point you're making. because it's just like classical music. Some people will say, I don't listen to classical music, but have you ever tried to?
Mm.
And as you said, if you want to listen to classical music and appreciate it, you should study it. And study doesn't mean like open large books. You need to try to understand where the artist was coming from. And uh, whereas pop music, they bring the song to you. You don't need to do anything. They give it a beat, a trendy beat, and you keep singing and you keep bouncing. And basically, the song is telling everything about you, because basically when he's talking about, I mean, there was a point in life where a friend of mine told me, "Hey, I don't like listening to Drake." This was like, I think, 10 years ago at least. It was like, I don't like Drake. I asked him why. He said, because he makes very good songs, but he disses me in all those songs. I said, he disses you? He says, yeah, because he's talking about broke people. That's me. I'm still trying to come up. I'm still, I'm studying. I'm trying to get there. And then basically he's dissing me and I'm paying him, supporting him to keep on dissing me. If I look at transitions as well, artists need to do transition. And I think if you look at, for example, Jay-Z, you can see a maturity
Hmm.
in his songs. To so much so that in the, what's the one when he says, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Yeah,
OJ's, yeah,
Magna
that's
Carta.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, okay. So the song he's making, I think, to be honest, as I'm talking right now, he's the first. That was the first song to me. There might be more, which I could listen to and relate to it now. Not, let's say, get nostalgia of how it was back then.
Hmm.
So how it is now. So the person is still talking about money, still talking about hustling, but he's talking about it in a different place.
Mhm.
And that's like a transition. Ye also makes transitions. His transitions, the difference between Jay and Ye is that Ye's transitions can be very radical. So he can be here in this album, and then the other one you're like, yo, like give me two
What is
albums,
this?
give me two albums before we get there. So, but those are still transitions. And
Yeah.
if you listen to Drake, while I appreciate the content of what he's talking about, and the what is the his skills, it's still not, it's still, let's say, I don't see the transition and the evolvement
Right.
of, he's still bringing it to the people, still simplifying it. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Are you writing his trajectory off, or do you believe it's coming? Like, are you?
It might be coming. It might take longer than we maybe longer than I would think, that I think that it should have taken. But yeah,
I don't
it's
think he
still,
can do it with that with this current state of him and Ye. I think he needs to be on good terms with Ye, because what Ye means to music, and even like some of those songs that they got on before, like the same way that we're seeing Drake is what I saw with Lil Wayne.
Oh,
And
he went down slowly but surely.
but they're the same camp, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
would wait.
so you what? Would you
I,
take
uh, I would put Wayne in a third category. I wouldn't put him in the same camp as Drake. Um, and just to be clear, I'm not saying that there should be beef. I'm just comparing the trajectories. Let's say between Drake and Ye. And I don't think that. I think if let's say the three of us, we're artists. The fact that I'm doing one kind of art, you're doing another kind of art, that's not shouldn't be reason to beef. We can sometimes cooperate and see how if we can make something happen.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's great. But it's just like comparing the tree. But yeah, but
the
proceed
beef has
with
not,
the what?
the beef between Drake and Ye has nothing to do with music. It has to do with all personal stuff outside of the music.
Yeah. But so I'm
To a degree, no, Ye or Drake claimed that Ye was supposed to give him some beats and he didn't do that. So there's some business or
Yeah,
music within it.
Ye told Pusha about the son, and then Pusha
Right. Well,
went on
yeah. It is something.
and
It
tried to
does get kind of
chop off
petty.
40's head, and then he tried to put his business out. So well, maybe Drake is also a little bit of 50 Cent, where he never will forget or forgive.
But Corey, I cut you off on Wayne. You were talking about.
So the reason I was saying if they're in the same category, there's a point because of how much I appreciated Wayne. I didn't want to continue to ask for something more than what he was going to give me and just know that this is who this person is, right? Because if I was just like, no, Wayne, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, then I would have never got the Wayne that I essentially, for lack of a better word, fell in love with. So I'm with you because I thought I was going to get a Drake that kind of was setting, I don't want to say setting the bar, but was merging still this not out of the box thinker, but a actual like person going through real situations in life, like family, love, yes, getting money, but just real life problems with the persona of I'm still here in the streets, like I still have swag. Don't think that like just because I'm going through girl problems that I'm not cool, and I'm not saying that anybody does think that that's what's going on today, but yes, in the 90s, it was get money, get girls, but don't merge or don't start a family. Our image as our generation, we never truly had that family, like I don't know. I just think that we weren't pushed that in the culture.
No.
I wouldn't say in the same way that it is now, but if you think about, I'm saying just from music, if you think about R&B, there wasn't really, it was about love, but it wasn't really about family. It wasn't about marriage, right? Like Chance was one person. It was like he started rapping about marriage, and then people started to turn like. So
that's
that's because of the genre at large just never really accepted that. But going back to the Drake part, do I still try to say, okay, I need more from you, or Drake is going to give you the hip hop that goes on radio, even though we're not listening to radio, but Kanye is going to give you the hip hop that kind of allows you to, wear a Make America Great Again hat if you want, and that not have it be something that is so crazy. I mean, granted, at the dinner table, it still is a crazy thing, but we're trying to push the boundaries to accept. Because at one point, parents didn't allow their kids to listen to hip hop. Now they're listening to Sexy Red, and it's like, no, this wasn't what hip hop was supposed to be. It's supposed to allow you to. I mean, I don't know. It's not even supposed to be. 2024 is different.
Yeah.
And when we make this last point, and what because you talked about classical music, and as someone who is, let me not put myself into it. When you think about music and this period, I don't know if we're in a Renaissance period, but like,
I think this is the Dark Ages.
Actually, so I read The Fourth Turning, so I there's a are you familiar with? Okay.
Well, is that of the I saw the Four Horsemen, the documentary, but I think it's basically the same thing.
It is when just the imagery of Four Horsemen is just like kind of, it's also going through like a cyclical period. So we're turning a corner of things that I don't want to go too off because it's very deep, but also it kind of speaks to as we kind of round the corner of the 2020s, but not towards the end, but just what the 2020s is supposed to be. We're in the middle of it. Truth, beauty, and goodness, whether it be music, no matter what it is. And this came to mind as you talked about classical music and listening to it with an ear that, whether or not it's something that we accept, we absolutely, any listener should be able to hear the greatness that is in classical music, or any like music at that level that, like, we talk about rollouts that stands the test of time. Like, it's not about like a rollout of classical music. It's just, it's a symphony. It's music coming together that
levels.
Yeah, it's how that comes about.
Yeah.
You know, I say all that just because when you think about our culture and what truth means and the lack thereof of it, redefining beauty, we're in an era that I think we should really pay attention to what's going into the product and what's coming out of the product, whether it be, like I say, I'm wearing a shirt that says like mass media is poisonous, if you will. If you think about all of that, our diet, what we eat, what we consume, if you think about it from a fast food type of, if you think about it just consuming quickly, then you're going to have garbage in, garbage out. But if you think about, classical music and reading books that like stand with you 20 years down the road, you can point, now you're really capturing the essence of like something beautiful, and that allows you to grow as a person. And we need, and our generation really needs to tap into that, because our generation, like millennials, like we're up, right? We're up.
We're next.
We cannot more than that. We still, for whatever reason, and I think we talked about our show from a year ago. We talked about politicians being 80 years old, 90 years old. We cannot step up to the plate if we only consume those things that are the fast foods.
Yeah.
We have to give our ear to something that appreciates classical music, that appreciates homegrown food, that appreciates a solid book, that can not only appreciate, but that can separate it from your everyday manosphere podcast that you listen in, listen out. You don't read. I mean, is it a conversation starter to a degree, but it's not making you change your whole outlook on the world. But you have to be able to, dissect, or, when you eat a really healthy and good food, quality food, it's different than McDonald's. And you've got to be able to, appreciate the goodness or the difference in those, especially as, we're parents now, and we're talking about things that are just way deeper than just money, quick things. That's where I'm landing it there.
Yes. But I'll finish this part up. Like I said, Drake is my number 2, and to close it out, Luciano Pavarotti is my number 3 on my wrap up. So I'm
gonna have to give it a listen. I'm gonna have to give it a listen. You said a Mexican rap group. You have to.
It's Mexican classical music, Fuerza Regida. But if you want to listen to very classical
Perfect.
music,
Love it. Love that it's classical.
No, wait a second.
Is it classical? It's not classical music.
That one, Fuerza Regida is not classical. Luciano Pavarotti is. It's one of the greatest opera singers ever.
What is the other one?
It's
what
Mexican regional music, basically.
The genre is called corrido.
Corrido, which is there are different aspects of corridos. You have let's say the criminal corridos. It's just like country. You have like these Western countries where they sing about let's say hitting the local police with a gun butt, for example, and then you have love and pop country. It's the same with corridos. So
I don't know how long ago it was, but I wish I had the name. There was a country music or a country song that literally sounded like a hip hop song with the content. My mind was like, is this where countries go?
I'll send you a couple of them. I know what
Country music that is literally the content of what we thought street to hip hop is.
Yeah, I know a couple of them. I know also there are one thing I'll say, and that's what I like a lot lately, is that I listen also to country. One thing I've noticed is there's a lot more, let's say, colored people choosing to go the country route, which I like
Interesting.
also. That's very interesting to see the
Very
development.
interesting.
One thing I'll say is country is a very nice genre to listen to. But
Yes.
sometimes it's, I'm not going to say the word diversity, but that you want to have some other sauce
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a slide on my ops.
don't do that. Don't do that. Let's talk about, we have some time left. We're
With
gonna
the
push it further.
moonshine. Okay, cool.
Well, they talk about that as well. There's not enough, let's say, traditional country singers that sing. How do they call it? It's more of a. Anyway, let's continue with
Trailer
Kanye.
Park Blues.
No. Vultures. What can we expect? Because like we talked about during the Drake versus Kanye part, Kanye seems to be able to push the genre of hip hop much more forward than Drake. Um, maybe Drake fans will not agree, but well, let us know in the comments. The album Vultures. What do you expect, Corey?
We're getting a worldly album. I think it's going to be very worldly. And I don't want to say I'm upset about it because it hasn't come out yet, but I'm bracing myself for it just because we're talking about Jesus is King last album. Not last album. The last album was Donda 2, Donda. Was Donda the first one off of since Jesus is King?
Yeah, Donda was the first one. Then he dropped Donda 2, and then now he's dropping this one.
Okay, so I love Donda. Love Donda. I knew Jesus is King. I thought Jesus is King was a great album, but I knew that it wasn't getting the same plays because of the content. But I still appreciated the era of Ye that we were in at that time. I think we need more of that conversation. I don't know if it's, that was Sunday service era. I'm hoping we're not going backwards. I hope we are still spreading our wings wide with what Ye is attempting to do. I'm not confident in that because of some of the latest imagery I've seen with his wife. I'm concerned to a degree. And I say that not as a religious person. I say that as someone, we're talking about the evolution of the artist. I want us to continue to build. And Ye did go through an era where he not claimed, he had a coming to Jesus moment, right? I don't think that was a facade. I think he continued to learn, and it's like no one is perfect. No human is perfect. And even with when you say I am a God, or if the book, again, it's in Psalms 82, ye are gods, whatever you believe, it's just striving to be better. I'm hoping that we don't get something that is worse. But I mean, yeah. So I'm.
What do you mean with worse? Forgettable or?
What do I mean by worse? I mean something that hurts the culture. Because when Ye did, no, it's a lot of us. We talked about hip hop being a lot of, F your B, you're downgrading other people. Like it's a lot of, huh?
We talked about this last
yeah,
year.
Not even. I don't even think it was the conversation. Yeah, it was just like what hip hop is about. That's an easy way to. You want to write a song? Oh, I'm gonna take you to this. I'm gonna do that. It's very easy, cookie cutter type stuff. So when I say worse, I mean putting us back into that boat of just talking about the same old, nothing. Pushing the boundaries, whether it be content. Like I still associate hip hop with like super creative bars that just make you like a Nas type of, that's what hip hop is supposed to be. It's deeper than just, wait, did he say that? And the third or fourth time is when you listening to it is when you actually get that line.
Yeah.
That's the hip hop. I don't know if I don't want to put Vultures in that, but like when I say worse, I mean just very bland content. This song is about this and it's here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get songs that we do want to listen to 10 years down the road. And in order for that to be the case, you've got to put something more in it than just, that cookie
What
cutter,
everyone is
F your B, get money, whatever.
No fast food. You're just hoping it's not fast food.
Correct. And I'll say this, just because it does get me excited, like that, the Backstreet Boys sample.
Yeah. That's I
Come on. I mean, look.
yeah, but from a producer's perspective, right? He did something that no one else. He's trying to push a certain way where no one has been before. So
Why hasn't anybody done that?
Be,
you guys, we all lived through that era of the boy bands and how much people loved them. That was, you have Michael Jackson, then you have these boy bands that were just selling out shows and everyone's going, why hasn't anybody seen, like, it just makes you think, why hasn't this been done? Because nostalgia goes crazy.
They can clear it probably. That's why.
Okay, to be honest, when it dropped, when I heard that, I think that was the first. Well, that was the first song on the yeah. So I pressed play, and the minute I heard that, I was like, "Yo!" So I don't think that we'll get cookie cutter stuff. I don't think we'll get traditional stuff. I don't think we'll get like I don't think we'll get like I don't want to let it sound I don't want to let it this to come over as an insult, but it's not. But I don't think it will be like a Drake album. I do think so. He does. Drake plays. I mean, I would categorize Drake as a good rapper, but he does parties. So it's like you can expect Drake songs in the club. I don't think you'll hear Ye songs in the club. Not this album, at least. I mean, previous
outside
album,
of everybody, I think everybody's gonna go play. And
that might. But the other beats that I listened to, and I didn't listen to the whole album because I started listening to it, and then I was like, no, I don't want this to ruin the experience when the album drops. But or should I say but when I saw when I listened to like the subsequent tracks, it was clear to me that it's not something that I can listen to driving in the car the first time. I have to really sit still and listen to it and absorb it. So I don't think it will be cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
I do think that it won't be. So at the same time, I don't think that it will be the most, let's say, the deepest, more profound version of Ye that we will know.
Right.
But that's okay as well, because people fluctuate between deep moments and then sad moments and happy moments. And what Ye does is he takes what's going on in his life, and tries to project it in his art. And so he's not in a place right now. Well, let me put it. I would think that he'd be in a place right now to do it, because a lot of things has happened the last couple of years. But maybe he's still not at a reflection space where he can really dive deep into it. But I would think that based on the song, he's angry. And the songs that I heard, like the vibe I got, it's like tumultuous. It's not like the most comfortable place that he's in. And that's the sense that I got listening to the first couple of tracks.
I totally agree with you on that. Actually, if you think about it, the fluctuation between deep. Well, he went deep with Jesus is King, so he went there. He went even deeper with Donda. Now he's coming back up, and he's basically going for a less deep version of him. But he's also, like you said, he's very. He sounds the sound. Technically, if you listen, if he's gonna use the Backstreet Boys Everybody song as his first song, the synth on it is already giving you the mood of the album.
Mm.
It's very rough,
Rough, yeah.
sounds quite angry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he puts on top of that Charlie. Well, dude, you gotta appreciate how he thinks from a production aspect. He puts on a very angry synth. Basically, it's a sample, but okay, it's an angry sounding synth. On top of that, he takes Charlie Wilson, which is more of a smooth voice, and puts him as the chorus. I mean, dude, it's very. He's still what I can
Yeah.
appreciate about him. He still has the producer's brain, still doing that.
When you say deep, like those, I mean, there's levels to just that being, you know, the recipe for the meal that's coming out. When I say you say deep, it's like Jesus is King and then Donda going deep. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, like being introspective, like,
Yep.
you know, kind of closing the door in your room and writing and just getting your heart out and almost not like leaving some of that for just you, but saying, okay, this is what I'm willing to share, but all of it has to come out, right? Yeah, you're right. I don't think we're getting it that it's not that deep in terms of the content, but I think it is just as deep in terms of the production, which is like what you're saying with having Charlie Wilson and the lady I was mentioning, I think it's Favia, but I'm not 100% sure, but just like those types of reaching for that type of artist and bringing it into, you know, the canvas, if you will. I think there is still a level of depth that only Ye can go with this. But like even with the rollout, but just like, I don't know, are you guys familiar with Yes Jules?
Yeah, of course. He was the one who put out that rant, the last rant.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I have my own opinion on that. I'm gonna.
Okay, that's it. I'm interested, but I don't know.
I would have banned her already. But
okay. Why?
I mean, yeah, that's not
okay. But I'll let you sit and think about how to, you know, make it.
Because I
us.
think,
But like,
I think it's just like the Jama rant, right? You have like the situation, right? So unless unless Ja Morant approved of the video first, and then it would be his responsibility, right? But if you just record if you just, let's say, do it on your own, let's say in that scenario, if you just do it on your own, you're not the one that will suffer the consequences. So I guess it's more that. So you want to have, if I'm here, let's say we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Let's say right now we're recording.
Yep.
Let's say once we stop recording, the three of us continue talking. Of course, there's some conversations that are not supposed to go viral,
right.
or at least public,
Right.
unless we determine, hey, let's
agree.
do this.
Yeah.
But let's say we're talking about something and it's like still very roughly, it's like a very rough concept that we're trying to refine, and then one of us just goes ahead and shares it. If I was the one seeing it, then I would be the one carrying the consequences, needing to suffer the consequences. And so that's it. That aspect, I don't know about. I think that's what KR was saying. That it's more that aspect than anything.
You're right. It's a fine line though, because of her lane and what she does for a living. Like that's her moment, right? And also Ye almost wants that, but also, you know, you're drinking, so he wants that, but should he want that? So then it's like he's got to have. That's why he's got to have people in that room that are on that. He should not be in a room saying, "I feel like y'all not really with me. Y'all are on payroll." that makes you, I hear what you're saying of, okay, so then when you think about, all right, should we put this out? Who's the should we? Because everybody's like, oh, let's put it out. It's Kanye. Like, I 100% hear you. I just think, I mean, look, we're in a beautiful era that is so transparent where we're seeing the pitfalls, we're seeing the highs, and people are connecting with the pitfalls just as much as they're connecting with the highs. So there is no right or wrong in that regard. But bringing it back to why I'm saying, like, Yes Jules being in the room as far as the album that we're getting tells me that it's for the hip hop fan versus something that you can have your parents listen to, or have your people that, I mean, who hasn't heard of Ye? It's a collab album, right? So Ye Ty Dolla $ign album. So it's for us, not a certain group, but for the people that it's for, it's going to hit. It's going to hit. It's going to hit for the Ye fan. It's going to hit for the Ty Dolla fan. I don't think it's going to hit for the Christian. I don't think it's going to hit for the classical fan. I don't think it's going to hit for the house fan. But Ye has albums that we're able to do certain things like that, where you're bringing in all these people. I don't think we're bringing in anybody new in this season. I think we're giving the people who are anticipating it, we're giving them what they want. And I just hope that even with that, that's why I say I hope it doesn't, I just hope that we don't go backwards. I hope that it's not like, anyone who, let's just say, for sake of conversation, got more spiritual and was trying to do right. I hope they don't do wrong, and whatever those words mean to you at this point in your life. I hope that you're able to get the meat and spit out the bones. I hope that, you understand sort of the big picture of Ye going back into the burning house to get, whether it be the teddy bear or whatever for his daughter. I also believe it's a setup for a Northwest collab, because I think we're getting more than one track with her. So, like, I also don't think we're getting Father Ye here. I think North is like a feature the same way, Chris Brown is a feature. I don't think it's a father-daughter collab, which I think is to come.
It's to come. You clearly, and I think we can transition then from this part to the next one, which is Northwest versus Adonis rivalry. I do agree with you on that. With regards to, it seems like she's being prepared.
She's being prepared.
Yeah, as in to become an artist. If you listen, there are two. So from the leaked, the songs they played in these listening sessions, there are two songs.
It is fun. Wait, how old is Adonis?
Adonis is, I think, 5, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look. Adonis Graham, right? Age. What was this? He's 6. He was 6 in 2023. Yeah. So.
Okay.
And Northwest. Age,
10.
She's 10. So, I mean, there's a big difference. I don't think people are trying to.
Is North 10?
North is 10.
10. Yeah.
You mean to tell me the things I saw her saying to the mom was as a 10-year-old?
Bruh, she is Kanye. She's Kanye, a female version of Kanye.
She's definitely cut from that cloth.
I love it. Different. She's
love
different.
everything about it. Love everything
Actually,
about it.
Kids are different, by the way. They all have the aspect of Kanye.
The kids?
You see, all his kids. But she has like the strongest, probably also because she's more in the forefront right now. I'm not sure.
And older. She can express herself.
Yeah. But she has a strong. It's Kanye in female version.
Not only Kanye, I do believe that there's it's a generational thing. I think we're gonna have to understand. I would say our kids, but kids today. I'm raising one myself at this point. But I think that they're coming out. Every generation believes that they know it all, but I do believe that this generation has a spark or a light that is unique for, obviously. But I just think that when we talk about, the fourth turning and, millennials and who they are, I believe who this, and I say this, let's just make sure both of those, let's say 5 to 10 or 5 to, I don't know, let's just say 10 just for the sake of conversation. I believe they're expressive. They're expressing themselves. They're not, I don't think that they're designed to just sit in that public school and learn history the same way we were taught it. I think they'll start asking questions right off the bat that will make you say, wait, this is not somehow, this doesn't actually match up with my reality. And so I think from that reason, for good reason, we're going to have to rethink some of these things if you haven't already thought about it that way. In that same vein with what North and Adonis is doing, obviously it's just a matter of giving them a blank canvas and seeing what they do with it. And, to just start off the conversation, like, why not? What could go? I mean, I don't want to say what could go wrong because I think, let me ask you this. Do you believe that a child going down the route of tapping into a career or a business is different, a child with music, different than actor or actress?
Can you ask the question again? I didn't get that.
So North and Adonis, they're creating music.
Yeah.
Do you believe creating that child prodigy and music is the same or different? I'll even bring in sports, putting them in Pop Warner football and making them do extra laps to try to, be this, or putting them in movies or modeling. It's like, you're trying to tap into whatever, you want to see what they connect with. So is the music piece any different than what we do with actors and actresses, or what we, the common person, do with sports or gymnastics or whatever it is?
I think the advantage they have, and you see that with sports, movies, if you have a parent that's already in that business, they can basically spread out their wing and you basically learn under their tutelage. If I would say, if this wasn't Ye or Drake, it's a very bad move. You clearly see. Let's take for example Bow Wow, great child rapper artist. Bow Wow is not really as good as we thought he was. But
This is so good.
If you look,
This is so good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, like, where we're going with this. Keep going. Keep unpacking it.
So if you take, for example, let's take Washington. What's his name again? The actor. Denzel's son. Let's be honest. He's the next.
I'm not familiar.
What's his name? He played.
He's an actor.
He's an actor.
Good.
Yeah. He
Good.
played in like 3 big movies right now, and
Yeah. He can hold his own.
But that's because
How old is he?
He's in his 30s, I think, right?
Okay.
He just needs to continue running.
Yeah, John David Washington, and John David Washington is from 84.
Like
so
Jonathan
he's 39.
Major. Like Jonathan Major.
Yeah,
Major.
he's 39 right now. He's been playing, dude. He's been playing quite a couple of movies. Like he did The Creator, Tenet, and Black Klansman. That's a Spike Lee movie. He's been building right now, and I think the advantage these two have is the parent aspect that can teach him not to go to dirty parties. But
I'll keep absolutely.
There's a lot of I'm making a joke, but that's true.
Yeah. That's why you don't wait. That's why you don't wait, though.
Because how many kids, and you see that as well with sports, how many kids that are trying to follow the path of their parents end up I mean, I'm talking about well-known parents that have set records like Dion. I mean, these kids are following a path that the dad has already walked, and he can teach them what they shouldn't do. Um, and you have also guys that, if you do that without a parent knowing what they have to avoid, you have a problem. A lot of child prodigy kids that were great actors, Macaulay Culkin, they end up destroyed at 18 because of them going to parties that they shouldn't be in.
And their
I'm not-
parents, where were their parents?
Dude, what still breaks my heart is a Willis. What you doing, Willis? What's his name again?
Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman. How at the end of his life, at the last part phase of his life, he made millions. At the end, he was a security guard at a supermarket.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense, but that's what you have when you don't get when you get parents that are pushing their kids forward towards, let's say, a modeling career, a actor, or sports. They don't know, or they don't have the tools to give to that kid, or they misuse their parenthood to enrich themselves.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I hope, to be honest, I think the Northwest versus Adonis rivalry, that's stupid. The kids, that's 10-year-old versus 6-year-old, can compare. Can compare.
No.
I hope North goes more towards like singing or something like that. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, that's what I have to say about this topic.
I appreciate the imagery of all of those, because I first started just saying, my first question was, is a child prodigy in music different than a child prodigy in acting? But then when you think about it, it's just a child that you're trying to tap into some sort of creative expression, and that goes in anything.
Yeah.
When you have the kids, you realize, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to try? Yada yada. And it being sports, and like no matter what it is, they're going to tap into that superpower. And it is absolutely that. Like, it's a superpower. When you find something you're good at and you're able to like truly believe in yourself and work on your craft and like get better and better and have an opinion and fail, like, and be upset with yourself, but then revisit it thinking you want to quit. There's so many things. It's only right that they do that. Both respective parties do that in their lane, because what more does Drake have to teach Adonis? Not what more, but like, it's only right that he starts him off with hip hop, if that's what he wants to do. I highly doubt they're forcing the kid, like, you have to do this. But if they're looking up to their parents saying, I want to do this, absolutely, and you're then able to start to mold it. My only thing, like when I talk about getting that dad album, is just expecting Ye to parent in front of us and saying, like, I don't want, is the same way he didn't want North to do a TikTok, but now, whatever. It's the timing of it. It's okay. This is, the content. I'm hoping all of Northwest song. I don't see how not, but I'm hoping most of Northwest songs will be digestible to the 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm saying, so things like that, it's something new to us, but I also believe it's something that the culture needs, because what do, outside of the sports and the things that you have in your community, like what do you show your 5-year-old to tap into that? Yeah.
My thoughts on this issue, or the question you posed, is that in general, I believe it's not the thing that you're doing that can be the problem in itself, but how you're doing it, right? So I think that the if you have a son or a daughter and you put this on and you don't have anything, let's say maybe you're like a middle class, you're not that, you're just average, right?
Yeah.
Not in a bad sense, but just like average. And then you let your son or daughter try out football, modeling, pageants, music, whatever the case may be, acting, and your child blows up as a 11-year-old, he or she has way more money than you. Then who are you? So you need to have like the it's gonna be challenging to keep the level of respect. Whereas if you take a look, if you take the bigger, let's say, artists who have navigated it in the right way, such as Denzel, they have the connection. Seinfeld as well. So there are a lot of people who have direct family members or indirect family
Nepo
members.
babies, they call them.
Nepo babies, yeah. So you have it, but it's like if you have it and you've done it successfully, then you can guide your child in, let's say, indeed, avoid the Diddy parties. What Cat Williams said, you gotta tell him no.
But that's the
So
thing.
so
You
so
don't
you
have to
need
go to those parties. Now you
no,
now you don't have
no,
to,
but
because you don't
ex-
need that. You
exactly.
don't need them to say, "Oh, please let me in." You're in. You are. You know what I'm
Fully
saying?
agree.
So like you're getting ahead of that.
Yeah, fully agree. So the fact that as a parent, then it's your responsibility to first of all expose your child to famous people. So come to our house, but in a like safe environment, safe setting. So when you talk about uh, Jonathan Majors, you talk about Megan Good, you talk about Beyonce, you talk about all these big artists. If you're and of course assuming that you as the parent is already there, they will eat with them, talk to them, go into their living room, play with their kids. So it would be just like another family. So like family friends, they wouldn't see them as whoa goals to aspire to. But at the same time, if you are not the most stable, if you can give your child the most stable kind of upbringing, and you give the child all the freedom in the world. Let's take the Smith kids. They're all over the place. That's what you get. And a person like that being in the spotlight can also influence your child. So I think at the end of the day, whatever they do, we, as say we, the people, you have parents, you have kids, and all you need to you need to just filter. See, I mean, I can maybe I vibe with your dad. I don't like your kid, so I'm not gonna let my child listen to your songs because we don't know what we need to. I do believe that um, we need to
Compartmentalize.
compartmentalize and rate keep everyone accountable. Just because your dad is a certain way doesn't mean that you're gonna be like that. And that at the end of the day is important because we need as if the family needs to raise the kids and the music. If the music is raising your kids, then you're doing something entirely wrong. Because then this song, the kid will go on the right path, then listen to a feature, go listen to the other person there, and then go a completely separate track.
For
So
she's listening to Sexy Red. I think
I mean, if it's not, she's listening to some music. All kids listen to music, and the fact that, especially at a young age, they listen to the words and they start singing it to you, and it's like, well, granted, they don't really know the words, so they're not connecting all the dots, but still, I mean, we all know, that first song that we remembered the lyrics of, but thinking back on it, we probably shouldn't have been reciting those lyrics.
Yeah.
Why not recite your own lyrics, or why not recite now? Being able to recite lyrics of a 10-year-old, I think it's creating a new genre. I don't even think, come to think about it, I've never heard of a 5-year-old put out a song. I don't really want to listen to 5-year-olds putting out music, but it's just something that's,
Michael Jackson.
Boom. Great point. Great point. But it's something that, yeah, I mean,
Early Michael Jackson was a lot of children's songs
yeah.
written by adults. So,
But that's
No,
not
and
an example
then,
of that's
well,
not a good example of
I think
someone
that's
that
the exception. That's not,
that's
yeah,
an
yeah,
exception. But we're
yeah.
talking about extraordinary talent. So,
And also, let's bring all of these, subjects together with the Katt Williams and the gatekeepers and what you have to do if you want to be successful in the field of what, like media, because also that same, it's not even just media. That same, there's gatekeepers literally you come to find out in every industry.
Yeah.
It's kissing up in every industry. Now it's not to the level of what goes on certain islands and stuff like that, but in order for us to not only exploit or get out what has been done for the past, but to set a new standard, we have to again rethink everything and then also learn from these things. So I don't believe what North and Adonis is doing doesn't necessarily mean have your child do it, but learn from this and also just appreciate we are not just relying on 18 years old, like what's the little girl that used to sound like Mariah Carey? She's Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
And
Yeah.
she had a amazing talent. I don't know what happened, but it's probably not, she probably doesn't have the greatest story when she was trying to say, when she had a skill, brought it to somebody and they said, okay, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
That
Well,
should not be. And I
yeah.
just think that we are rewriting the handbook, and I'm hoping that what's happening with what Katt Williams is doing is saying is a lot of people knew this. So whatever pitfall, if you went down that rabbit hole and found out this is actually how it works, it's a sad thing. But the people now who were like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist or you believe in Epstein Island, but like you're writing it off. It's like, no, this is a fact.
Yeah.
And for us to now get it right, let's identify these facts and then get it right. We can't just get it right without holding people accountable and then also doing away with them. I don't want an apology from Diddy. I don't want TD Jakes to say, I'm sorry, I've moved on. You can have a private life, go out and there's redemption. I don't know what it looks like, but you are not an example for anybody going forward. That's why I say it's on us, the millennials or whoever's next up.
Yeah.
You had your run. That's what you chose to do with your life. We're headed in a different direction.
Yeah, fully agree. Yo, we need to wrap up the show, but this has been very great. Now I remember that the first show also went on longer than expected. But when you're having good conversations and deep conversations, you need to create the space as well. With that being said, I firstly want to thank you, Corey, for being on the platform. We will definitely collaborate more structurally, as I said at the beginning of the show. Guys, go show Corey some love. Go to his YouTube channel, See Moses, and subscribe.
Check the description.
Check the description, subscribe. Make sure you follow him. Let us know as well what you thought of the conversation. Where you think we should, what top subject you think we should talk about next time. But yeah, as I said, this is not the first time. So Corey, thanks for coming on.
Yes,
For those of you who haven't done so already, remember to subscribe to this channel, rate the show by pressing the like button, share the video with your friends, your family, and your enemies. And don't forget, as I already said, to comment. Let us know what you think about the subjects. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I really feel that we can keep on going like for hours, but yeah, we will definitely looking forward to the future collab. So
absolutely
yeah,
appreciate you guys
thanks again.
having me on. This is a great conversation. Yeah, no, I look forward to kind of the build for 2024 and what you guys are doing with Double Thought Show. I think it's set an example for the future of having good, deep conversations and what this platform can do and be.
Thank you. Thanks.
man.
Hey,
Salute,
guys. Thank you. Hey, guys, with that being said, we'll see each other in the next one. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Peace. Great show, man.